Hello, and welcome to the Emmett Interdisciplinary Program in Environment and Resources, or E-IPER for short. My name is Nicole Ardwan. I'm an associate professor at the Graduate School of Education and a senior fellow at the Woods Institute for the Environment. I'm also the Sykes Family Director for E-IPER. Our community comes from various backgrounds and disciplines to engage in innovative research, exchange new ideas, and develop innovative solutions to our world's most pressing environmental and resource sustainability issues. We trained scholars for today to become tomorrow's leaders who contribute to a thriving planet. As part of our 20th anniversary celebration, we created this video to reflect on our program's mission, how far we've come, and all of the fantastic people who have transformed E-IPER to where it is today.
I'm Pamela Mattson. I'm the Goldman Professor in the Department of Earth System Science and a Senior Fellow at the Woods Institute for the Environment. And I have known E-IPER since its founding days. I was among the faculty who got to design it and move it through the academic senate and get it authorized, and it's launched since then. In 1999 or 2000, we began to create the idea of an IPER-like graduate degree program. And we had people like Steve Schneider, Gretchen Daly, Roz Naylor, Julie Kennedy, Rob Dunbar, Buzz Thompson, Peter Vatusik, and many others working together to conceive of what this could be like. One of our first big challenges was figuring out what to name the program. Some of us thought that sustainability should be in the name because, after all, we were training students to be systems thinkers and to work in an interdisciplinary way on problem solution as well as problem understanding. But sustainability was a term that was probably a little bit before its time, and we decided to use environment and resources instead. We called it the Interdisciplinary Program in Environment and Resources, IPER, and really focused on that interdisciplinary program part of it as something that set it apart. Later on, of course, we changed the name in honor of the Emmett family, Dan and Ray Emmett, who did so much to help the program blossom and grow to what it is today. In the early days of IPER, we had to spend quite a bit of time convincing our colleagues at Stanford and beyond that interdisciplinary didn't mean superficial or, light. In fact, that it was a very challenging kind of program in which students needed to learn more than one discipline, become experts in more than one area, and then carry out the really challenging process of bringing those knowledge bases together in the research that they did. But our students managed that, did it so well, and basically proved that the interdisciplinary education could be strong and deep, as well as interdisciplinary. So we had in the early days, and still have, a truly incredible group of graduate students. But it wouldn't work without the faculty that we have at Stanford. They're truly engaged faculty. So, faculty from all over this campus are engaged, and they teach our graduate students. They are on the committees or even co-advisors for the committees. They engage with the program and provide leadership for the program itself. And I think that's what sets Stanford apart. It's one of the reasons that E-IPER has flourished, because Stanford allows its faculty members to engage where their hearts and souls are at. And we don't put barriers up to prevent faculty members from participating in these interdisciplinary programs. And it's one of the things that's made E-IPER the best in the world. And luckily for us, we were at the point where the Stanford Challenge was underway. The Stanford Challenge was a university-wide fundraising campaign that was intended to help Stanford mobilize its strengths to help solve problems of the 21st century and to train leaders to do so. And so IPER was a perfect poster child for what Stanford was trying to do. And it became one of the centerpieces of the Stanford Challenge.
IPER is the interdisciplinary graduate program on the environment. It's absolutely central to the environmental initiative at Stanford. The vision of IPER is to cultivate a new kind of leader, someone who's exceptionally good at sort of thinking and problem solving, and who at the same time is oriented around the big challenges facing society today.
I remember at the very beginning of the Stanford Challenge receiving the first gift for E-IPER. It was a gift for a graduate student fellowship. and it was from Chuck and Roberta Katz. And it felt to me like that just launched what we were doing. And then, of course, after that, many, many more donors joined in.
When you start a new program and you've got funding and wonderful people like Suki to see every day and all these faculty that are coming around all the time to find out what's going on, and we have our Thursday afternoon environmental forum, there's 50 people in the room. It is very inspiring, lots of energy. So yeah, that startup time was one of my favorite times at Stanford.
You know, the people who decided to join our program, that was a big leap of faith. You know, they didn't know if this was going to be a success, what would happen to their careers, but they were all in. And so we just really wanted to create a home for them so that they could support each other, and because they're all doing something different.
If you think about where the world was in late 2001 and 2002 when we did the admissions, like there wasn't as strong a academic movement devoted towards interdisciplinary research in support of the environment or sustainability. So people could logically wonder, like, well, I'll get this great degree and have a lot of fun, but will I ever get a job? You know, who's going to hire me? And we didn't have that many examples we could point to. In fact, the Faculty Senate, when our proposal to create a new degree program came up for Senate consideration and a vote, that was one of their questions. And the fact is, our alumni, and there's over 200 of them at this point, they've gotten fantastic jobs, and many top universities have developed programs in this sort of niche space, or it's not even a niche really, this academic space. One example would be Kirsten Olesen, who is now a professor at the University of Hawaii, speaks Hawaiian, and she's been interested in kind of the socioeconomic side of fisheries. But I remember talking to her about how, you know, to solve the problem of feeding 3 billion people with blue protein from the sea, you know, we're going to have to be super efficient, we're going to have to conserve, we're going to have to think about equity of distribution, access to the ocean. All of those things mean you're going to need to know a lot of law, a lot of economics, some basic biology and some advanced biology, and some technology, because that's the only way we can monitor fishing in the ocean. And she said, okay, what classes do I take, you know? And we have them here at Stanford. So, I mean, that's an example where it's pretty easy to say a highly interdisciplinary approach is needed to even know where to begin with solving fisheries management problems. And it's even worse in the high seas once you get beyond national jurisdictional boundaries.
And of course, all of their projects evolved as well. You know, when you apply, you have an idea, and then you get some coursework and you meet your advisors and you sort of pivot a little bit, and then you find the sweet spot, right? And that's where you go.